Justice League Dark number 17, written by Jeff Lemire and Ray Fox, art by Mikkel Janin. So last issue we left off with apparently an entire apocalypse is coming for both the normal world and the magic world, which I believe was called Epoch, or maybe that was just the place where those science guys came from. Regardless, the whole of the world, there's lightning strikes and stuff like that. Xanadu is providing the narration saying like, yeah, everything's just kind of crap right now and there's nothing we can do about it because our entire team is being held hostage in here. And we see the big science guy named Vicar is leaving because of all the reports of the thunder and stuff outside. So then we get back to Nanda Parbat with Johnny Peril basically saying like, okay, my theory as to what's happening here is that both Earths have a source of magic that is just constantly like growing inside of the planet. But our Earth allows that growth to bleed off occasionally. That's how you get things like Dead Man and whatever else. The other Earth did not have the ability to bleed off that magic, and it's just been building and building and building in pressure. So when we open the two portals and we are able, that Earth is now able to relieve some pressure into this Earth, it's kind of doing it super violently. And that's what's happening. And they say that there is technically a way to fix it, but it requires someone to cross over to the other side again. And Timothy Hunter's dad, who's still just hanging around there, is like, hey, I'll do it. My son's over there. I feel responsible for him. Tell me what I got to do. And Colonel Trevor's like, that's not a good idea. And he's like, shut it, I'm doing it. So that's going to happen at some point. So then we see the wild area of Epoch, and Timothy Hunter's like, okay, I'm their lost king, so I need to lead them, right? And Zatanna's like, here's the thing. They might just be telling you a story that makes you like sound good. Like, only do this if it feels right to you. And one of the magic people are like, she's a liar, don't believe her. And he's like, okay, but do you see what I'm talking about? Like, seems a little suspicious, but follow your heart. If you want to do this, I'm behind you 100%. And all of a sudden a spy shows up saying like, hey, just want to let you guys know they caught a team of people and they are currently going to interrogate them. And Zatanna's like, that sounds like our team of people. Oh, geez, we have to go get to them. That's important. And Timothy's like, all right, well, then I've made my decision. We got an army. Let's go attack the science people. So he flies off on a dragon as everyone else follows behind. So then we see a page of them taking out some science soldiers using things like ghosts and fairies and whatnot. And the reports of their attack make it back to, I just heard his name. I literally just heard it. Vicar. That's it. He's saying, it sounds like all this stuff's crazy, but there are reports of an army going on, and whatever meteorological this event is, it surely won't cause as much damage as this army. So I'm going to go focus on the army. And they're like, all right, cool, whatever. Here's the coordinates. So then we see everybody getting interrogated with apparently some mind control or mind reading devices. And Boston basically asks Constantine, like, hey, do you have a plan? And he's like, yes, I do. We're going to sit here and wait until Frankenstein figures out whose neck to wring in order to free all of us. And Boston's like, that's your plan? And he's like, absolutely. So then we see Frankenstein is being investigated by some science soldiers who are like, this guy isn't magic. He doesn't have any magic in him, which means all of this is science. We need to tear him apart and study him. And Frankenstein's like, I really don't like being in labs. So, I'm going to go ahead and just beat you guys up now. And he just breaks out, grabs one of them by the throat and says like, tell me where my comrades are kept and then tell me how to get out of here or I am going to kill you slowly and painfully. And he's like, yeah, your comrades are down that way. So Xanadu then, she's still aging. She's still dying, but she's like, all right, I got to use the last of my magic ability to see the future one last time. And she basically says, Constantine, I'm going to die here. I can see that. You're going to open up a portal and it's going to get some of us home. Not all of us. You will definitely make it through. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave anyone behind. He's like, shut up. I know you're going to do this. Sometimes it's going to be Black Orchid or maybe Boston Brand, but no matter what, you are always going to make it through. However, at some point in the future, You are going to be responsible for Zatanna's death. It says here, hands clasped around a fire that does not burn, an evil voice whispering your name and Zatanna. Zatanna dies at your word. You will give the order that will lead her to her death. And Constantine's like, no. Anyway, Frankenstein shows up and frees all of them. Xanadu is still just barely clinging to life, so they gotta figure out how to get out of there quickly. And Constantine's like, this is all my fault. This is my curse. I hurt the people I'm nearest to. And Deadman's like, dude, shut up. I am so sick of hearing about this. So we see the magical army has approached the City of Science. And Zatanna's like, okay, let me see if I'm able to maybe pose more of a threat. And so she casts a illusion spell that hides the real army and looks as though there's an army of like hundreds of thousands about to attack. And it's like, all right, now tell us where John is. So we cut back in. They are making their way down a hangar exit, taking out some soldiers in their way, when all of a sudden, because of the magical lightning stuff, the entire hangar closes in and they're not able to escape out there anymore. And honestly, the entire hangar starts collapsing in entirely, so they're forced to run back the way they came. So now Vicar is seeing this army of 100,000. He's like, all right, everybody, shoot to kill. And they start attacking the illusion army, while the real army has gotten up underneath their defenses, and now they are launching their counterattack. And that's where the issue ends, with a whole like charge with Timothy on a dragon and whatnot. It looks awesome, but it is, I don't quite have that much of a link to that plot. That's the thing. This feels a bit too torn. There are like, technically there is the plot with Timothy and Zatanna, and then there's the plot with the rest of Justice League Dark. And those are the two primary plots. But then you throw in the extra stuff of what's going on in the real world, you throw on the Vicar subplot, and you throw on the fact that this whole apocalypse thing isn't really in any of those other plots. It's just another thing happening. So overall, you get like 5 different plots going on here, and it just feels stretched a bit thin, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that I don't really have any real attachment to any one of these plots, because none of them have really taken the time to be the hook. All of them are just kind of, no, it's big and bombastic. Isn't that enough? And it's not. It doesn't feel like it is. It looks great, and I like the pacing of it, but I'm not quite invested in any of it yet. None of it feels like it is the big thing, Even with them taking the time to say Constantine's going to get one of them killed or trapped in this dimension, it just doesn't feel like it hits that much weight yet. It hasn't earned that. So overall, I got to give this one like a 7. Almost all of the reason it's not a 6 or a 6.5 is because Mikel Janon's art is fantastic. It looks great, but yeah, it does fall into a thing of I'm just not emotionally invested yet, and I hope that it can get there before the end of the arc, but frankly, I'm not sure how much time it really has left before they're out of the world entirely, so yeah, guess we'll see.